welcome back to BookTube with Amy. And it is hotter than the surface of the sun this week. Melting! Oh. So this is a bit of a mishmash, a wrap up, because these are the books that I read sort of at the end of June, beginning-ish of July. So they're like the end of my Marvel-a-thon books and the beginning of my Indie Accord books, and there's one that crosses over to both because I read it over the 2 days. So we'll just get into it. The first book I want to talk to you about is Shadow of the Night by Deborah Harkness. So I recently filmed and uploaded my I seriously need to finish this mid-year catch-up, and this is one of the series that I had not continued, and I said that I was pretty apprehensive about picking it up. I was Team Scarlet Witch for Marvel-a-thon. One of your themes and one of your prompts was books with witches in it. So I was like, right, fit this in at the end of Marvel-a-thon. Ken, if I'm ever going to do it, now's the time, because the points will keep me going. I did the audio of this, and I say I did the audio, I did the first wee bit of the audio because I DNF'd this book and will DNF the rest of the All Souls trilogy, is it? The Discovery of Witches books. I'm not going to read any more of them. So just a wee quick reminder for anybody who is maybe new to my channel or hasn't seen that specific wrap up where I talk about the first book. I really enjoyed the first half of the first book. I thought it was phenomenal. Really enjoyed our characters. Enjoyed the storyline, enjoyed the magic, and I enjoyed the historical and academic elements of it. And then the second half of the book I absolutely detested, because I felt like as soon as there was a romance connection, our entire character development and like character personality changed, and I hated it. So that was disappointing. So I was hoping in the second one that it was maybe going to pick up a wee bit and it would be sort of less focused on, not less focused on the relationship, but like less focused on them fucking and having babies. And this wasn't less focused on them fucking and having babies. It was like pretty much the focus. Where did I read up to? I think I read just over 100 pages. I read 150 pages and pretty much nothing happened. There's going to be spoilers, so if you want to read this book, click away to the next book now. I love a wee spoiler alert up, and so when that disappears, I am not spoiling stuff anymore. So, they go back in time, as planned, and happens at the end of the first book, and this starts right fae like the end of the first book. There's no like a gap or where you've got to figure anything out, which I really enjoyed, so it was looking promising, because I hate that if it jumps like way after. But they went back in time and nothing at all about the time travel made sense. Like Diana was like, oh well, we can't do this or we can't say that, or you know, we can't do that because like the butterfly effect, space-time continuum, blah blah blah. And then like they would like just go and do things that would like totally fuck the future them, like, or their families or the whole world. And I was like, like, should you be saying doing this, like, if you know it could mess up like the entire planet and our entire future? And they just didn't seem to care, and so that just didn't really make sense, and I couldn't get away from the plot holiness of it, to be honest. And then Matthew, who I actually really enjoyed as a character, like, well, I mean, I enjoyed him until him and Diana got together, and then I thought he was a prick. However, he's even more a prick in this one. So they go back in time, and I appreciate that he's like lived through that time period, so it's very easy for him just to settle back into the ways. Like, this wasn't like Diana had went back in time and was now dating old Matthew for that time. She's dating current Matthew, but he treated her like shit and was basically like, women are to be seen and no heard, like, keep your opinions to yourself, doll, and just do as you're told. Which, like, biles my piss. I was so angry, so angry. And Diana, like, again, and this is my issue for the first book, because she's so outspoken and so just like badass in the beginning, and then when Matthew's involved, she does just be seen and no heard, and she keeps her opinions to herself, and so she tries to like crank on a wee bit, and then like it gets to a point where she's like, look, listen, you can't talk to me like that, blah blah blah, and he's like, oh, I saws, like, but I'd be raging, like absolutely not. I just didn't enjoy it, and to read 150 pages of a sequel and to have nothing happen, I think is poor. We were introduced to like an entire host of new characters. I wasn't interested in any of them in the slightest. Was very disappointed, so I am not going to continue. However, I do still want to read Times Convert, which is like no directly related to this trilogy, but it's based within the same world, and the general consensus was that I needed to read this trilogy before I read Times Convert, and I'm just going to read Times Convert at some point whenever I fancy it, but I will be unhauling all 3 of these books. Very disappointing because it is a lovely wee paperback set that Simon bought me last year for Christmas, but it was just terrible, and I know that these are beloved, and I have put off watching the TV show till I read the books, and the TV show looked absolutely class, but I'm not even going to watch the TV show now.
Give me a second while I look up my little file of things I really don't give a fuck about.
So then I read all the Heartstopper graphic novels, and I just realised, like, I came dressed as a Heartstopper novel to do this wrap up today, which I didn't even realise. So I had bought the first one, and I really wasn't intending on reading it right away because I have obviously tried to put myself on a ban of starting new series until I have finished the ones that I had started. But I just snuck this in and I read the first one because it was sitting on my shelf staring at me, and I really wanted to watch the Netflix show, and I was off on holiday for work, so I was like, you can just sit and binge it and enjoy it and it'll be good. So I did. I read the first one, absolutely loved it, finished it, and immediately turned to Simon and says I need the second one right away. And so then he primed me the second one and it arrived the next again day. And I tried to be a wee bit better and space this over 2 days because I knew I wasn't getting paid to the end of the week, so I wouldn't be able to get the next ones if the same urge occurred. The same urge did occur, and so I bought 3 and 4 and I read these both the day they arrived. They arrived while I was doing sprints on my channel, and I went down, opened the door, abandoned what I was currently reading and read volumes 3 and 4 on my sprints. They were just phenomenal, so brilliant. I'm not going to go into what the plot is because I am, as per usual, the last one to this party. Like, see if life and books and shows and films was actually a big party. Like, I didn't turn up fashionably late. I turn up like the next again morning when everybody is like leaving and sleeping, like, and I turn up with my Kerry like, we're ready to go guys, and everybody else is like, oh, we're done. That's me. Anyway, sorry, I'm rambling, but these were just phenomenal. I thoroughly enjoyed them. I really think that Alice Oseman managed to strike a phenomenal balance, it being really cute and light-hearted and comforting, as well as tackling some really serious and quite dark issues. And I just thoroughly appreciated this story, to be honest. It is such a positive queer story. I just think that these are such a lovely positive queer story, and I'm sure that people who are growing up, who are maybe struggling with their sexuality, who are maybe unsure about their gender, who maybe just didn't feel like they fit in all that much, would really see themselves reflected in our main host of characters in these books. And I just thoroughly enjoyed them. They were phenomenal, and I definitely want to go on to read the rest of Alice Oseman's works. I want to get all of her books and frankly just binge them because these were just phenomenal. I think that the art style is lovely and really adorable. I think that the characters are so amazingly developed. I thought that it was interesting that she did something a wee bit different in book 4. We having it be journal entries for each of the boys to, like, you know, get that some time has passed. I just enjoyed everything about them. They were so brilliant to read. They were really made me emotional at points. I just thought that they were brilliant. Every single one of these was a 5-star read for me, and I managed to fit all of these in right at the end of Marvelathon. The last 2, 3 and 4 were like on the last day when I was on sprints on my channel. So I'll put in my tracker so that you can see like how many points they got me. I think they all got me 145, but aye, they were phenomenal. I am no the only person in the world hyping these. Every single person is hyping these. Just pick them up. See, when I'm reviewing books, right, I feel like if I hated a book, I can like 1000% tell you the 10 bajillion reasons why I hated it. See, if I like a book, I just sit speechless because I don't know what to say. Need to get better at that. Then next, this is the book that crossed over that I managed to squeeze in at the end of Marvelathon, but also I am counting towards my Indie Accords readathon. So this is Darryl by Jackie S. Now this book came super hyped to me by Scott and Nell from Gunpowder Fiction and Plot, and then Ange from Angie's Book Chatter, and I think Kevy really loved this as well. Kevy, if you say Kevy. So this is about Darryl. And he is into cockholding. For anybody who doesn't know what that means, is he likes other people to sleep with his wife. And we basically just dive into his like journal entries, I guess, although it doesn't explicitly say that's what it is. And we get all his inner thoughts, feelings and emotions as he is trying to come to terms with who he is as a person, why he is into cockholding, what that means for him and his wife's relationship, what it means for him as a person, and maybe if there's something a wee bit deeper going on. And we just get his absolutely no like holds barred account of everything in his life, down to who his wife is sleeping with, down to how he feels about it, down to their relationship drama, their financial situations, friends and family that they meet along the way, therapy sessions, where Darryl is online, and I would just get like his word vomit basically, everything that is going on. I did enjoy this book. It was a 4-star for me. I have to say though, I feel like I enjoyed the interesting social commentary that Darryl made when it came to what he likes sexually and his kinks, and how that relates to him politically, how it relates to him in terms of religion, social class, social standing, social hierarchy, and just like his gender and who he is attracted to, sexuality, and like a whole other host of things, films that he will enjoy. I felt like that was really interesting and really well done, and some of the points that he makes are just so ridiculous that you just sort of feel laugh it off, and then actually when you think about it and you're like, that kind of makes sense. And so I felt like that was really interesting, and I think that I enjoyed that probably more than I enjoyed the actual plot throughout the book. I don't know if it is intended to read like that or not, to be honest, but that is what I took away from it. It was very thought-provoking and very interesting. Darryl is a bit of an unreliable narrator, I would say, because I think that for a lot of the things he is discussing, he doesn't even know his own opinion on it, and so sometimes he'll say things that are like ridiculous and maybe quite insensitive, maybe a bit misogynistic, but then he always clarifies right away. He's like, that's not what I'm meaning, like this is what I'm meaning, it's just, and like he's almost trying to make sense of his own thoughts and opinions in his head, and I think that there are some things that are just ingrained in Darryl that he then struggles to take out of it when he is then trying to form an opinion on something. And so I think sometimes he says the wrong thing when he actually knows better. But I did enjoy it. I thought, like I say, it was really interesting, it was very funny, and I thought it was delightfully queer, and I have never read a book about somebody who is into cockholding before, so that was a new one on me. Probably will not be the last. I think that the book in itself probably isn't trying too hard to make a specific point. It is more just a thought piece so that you can come away and you can be thinking about a lot of different things, and while that isn't always my cup of tea, I think that actually in this instance it worked. So I rated Darryl a 4. I used Darryl as my Reader Diverse book prompt for my Indie Accords board, and then I will also put up how many points it gained me for Marvelathon as well. Then, next up, I read Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. This was gifted to me from Lisa over at Lisa Does Life. She sent it to me while we were on her sprints on our channel a fair few months back, and I was saving it for Indie August, but then Indie Accords came up and I decided that I was going to take part in that read along, so I was like, right, I need to read this right away because she has just been hyping it up like nothing. This is the story of an orc called Viv, and she decides that she is wanting to leave behind her wild, tough and tumble life, and she wants to set up shop somewhere and just start a wee coffee shop in this high fantasy world. And then she hires an assistant, Tandre, who also happens to be a succubus. And this is like just a cute, cosy wee story set in a high fantasy world. We meet a whole host of characters, from magical students to gnomes to big mystical cats, orcs, succubi, and you know what, it was just thoroughly delightful. It was everything that I needed. It was really oddly comforting. I mean, the tagline is a novel of high fantasy and low stakes, and I couldn't imagine another tagline doing it any more justice than that. It is basically them just setting up a coffee shop, but in a fantasy world, and that is it. And that might sound really dull, but it was delightfully comforting. Like, I can't explain to you how phenomenal this book is. I just think that everybody needs to take a punt on it. It was just brilliant. The characters are so well developed, and I was really engrossed and really engaged in their journey to just starting a wee coffee shop. And like, this seems stupid, right? But I say it all the time how much a fan I am of books that have like food as one of the big elements. And like the food and drink in here is one of the elements, as they sort of try to come up with things that they think their customers are going to enjoy. And they've got this like slate menu, right, and it's Tandre's job to update that menu anytime they add a new item. And so they just start off with coffee, and in this fantasy world nobody knows what coffee is. Coffee is gnomish, and so she's bringing it across to like a new part of the world, and she's trying to get people to try. And so they just have it black or like with cream, and they have it like, they call it a latte. And so it basically just starts off with that in the menu, and then like one of their patrons doesn't enjoy hot drinks, and so then she discovers like, well, let's try it iced, and she makes iced coffee, and then that gets added to the menu. And then somebody else is like, oh well, like I'd want something to eat, and so then like they end up hiring a baker who is the most adorable wee dude in the world, and I love him so much to pieces. He has my entire heart. But then he starts making like cinnamon buns, and they add that to the menu, and then like it just keeps going on like that. And like every time in the book they would update this menu, it like broke me so much. So it was just like, your business is thriving and you're making your customers happy, and it was just giving me like all the feels. I just thoroughly loved it. All the characters were really adorable. I just love them so much, and like, I hope there's going to be more books in this series. Like, I am here for it. Like, even just like them actually building the coffee shop, and like they renovate an old barn. Like, see, even just reading them do the renovations. Don't know why, but it was therapeutic as fuck to me. I loved it. This was a 5-star read for me, which is not going to surprise anybody. And I used this as my read an author from a different country prompt. Travis Baldree is American. I did this audibly. Why can I never say that when I go to say this? I did the audio of this, and I also read it physically. This was another one that I did while I was on sprints, and I read it in its entirety in one sitting. I just devoured it. It was phenomenal. And Travis also narrates the audiobook, which was really cool. I've actually never had that before, where it's been the author who's narrated the audiobook, but Travis Baldree is an audiobook narrator. It's what he does, so of course you would want to narrate your own. But it was phenomenal. That is everything that I have been reading. These wrap-ups have been a wee bit longer than usual because I've just been off work, so I've had more time to get through sort of more books in the past couple of weeks than what I would usually. But like for next week, I promise like normal practice of talking about 2 books will resume. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you're enjoying everything that you are reading at the moment. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye!